Okay,
Okay. So this is the Berlin Historic District Commission meeting, Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Roll call, I'm Lorraine Stubb, chair.
would everyone mind, cause I forgot my roll call.
Don Forecash. Bill Singh. Herm Watson.
And we know Andre's not gonna be here, did anyone hear from Joan?
No.
No, okay, so I'll just,
I'm trying to think, we're all regular members, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we're all set.
yeah,
Um,
okay,
okay, so our first hearing,
Audience of citizens.
oh, we don't have any, nobody's here.
no one's online
Um,
either.
Okay, so the first hearing is HTC 2025-01. They're actually our first hearing of the year.
Super.
We haven't had a lot of people doing renovations this year. Sarah, not
NIDA.
Nida, okay. To replace existing wood steps at 1275 Worthington Ridge. And my understanding is, Sarah wasn't. I was explaining to her, because she didn't get a welcome packet, her realtor didn't tell her about rules in the historic district. And I did not send a welcome letter and packet because I never saw the house listed, nor did I see it in the closings listed in the paper. So I had no idea, I thought it was still that other people owned it. So she had, well, you can explain what happened, I guess.
So I have, there's pictures on the table. I have another set. I had met a contractor who was picking up some debris from the house. And
Up here, Sarah?
oh, sure. There, while he was there, I asked him about the front steps. I had said that the front steps were rotting and I would need to replace them at some point because the boards had holes in them. And then the front steps themselves, just had no landing. And when I purchased the house in December of 2021, and I asked the, the home inspector about it, he was like, oh yeah, but I'm not the building inspector, but that doesn't match code, so you might have to replace them at some point. And so when I met the contractor, he was like, oh yeah, we can do that. I explained what I wanted. I said I would like a landing, that's like in progress. And I would like the landing, and then some steps down, and he said, sure. And then we didn't realize, he thought for stairs, so he
Oh.
went to do that, and then someone had stopped, so that's why we have like the in progress picture. And then, so he took it to the permit office, and then they were like, you're in the district. And I said, oh, I knew that, but I didn't know there was something to go through. This is a cloudy picture because I just printed it on my computer, but that is the finished space. And they said you'd have to fill out the application, so I did that right away. I went and met Alexa, right? And I met Alexa right away, and we figured that because the project was already in progress, she had brought it to your attention, I believe. And we did get the go ahead to finish the project, but knew we had to come here to get the approval because that that front door space was not safe, and there was, no landing and no space to walk out. That picture is kind of cloudy, so I apologize. I just printed it on the computer as I was leaving. I do have it on my phone though, if somebody wants a clearer picture.
Okay, so as for materials, everything is wood except the deck is.
The parts you would step on are like a dark gray Trex, I think is what he used. I'm not good. I was like, I trusted his construction technology and information. So yes, but it's what did he call it? Composite? No. And then, but the risers, the sides, all the rails and everything are all wood. And they are a pressure treated wood. So he said before if I wanted to do anything with them, and that's a question I have for you, I have to wait the year because of the pressure treated materials.
But it has a season or.
Yeah.
Chemicals.
Does it
dissipate or
need
something.
to be painted per the district?
No, and actually, people think we regulate color and we don't.
Okay,
So if you do paint them, we don't have a say in that.
Is this photo the foggy one, that's the finished product?
Yeah, I have a better one if you'd like to see. Hold on. I can show you on my phone and it's clearer.
Has the, building inspector approved? The stairs?
I don't know if the building inspector even was out to see it.
They're aware of it, yeah.
I know,
Don't you have to show them specs or something?
they did,
Yeah, no, the building department is aware of the project. They're the ones that actually stopped it because they knew it didn't go to HDC.
Right,
So they were the ones that suggested that we let them finish it because it was unsafe prior to receiving this approval. So I mean, I'm not sure the schedule of their inspections, but
yeah,
I mean, they're aware that it's going on and,
okay.
you know, so
I think
there
when you
will
go
be a
to them,
final
you have to explain what you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, if they didn't have any kind of information, they wouldn't allow it.
Cause I know we did ours at our house. It has to be to code.
Mm-hmm,
I know.
Yeah.
The contractor spoke with Alexa multiple times and then spoke with the did the permit and
Yeah.
everything. I'm just not, I don't know all the details with that.
Mhm.
Cause he was helpful and
yeah, it was
Took care
either
of
Jeff
it.
or John that was out there.
Oh, you did submit a building permit though?
yeah,
It wasn't, they didn't stop the work just because HTC had, a historic district had not approved it. It was also because presumably a building permit was required.
I think they may have been notified because a building permit was pulled,
Oh,
but
I get what you're
but they
saying.
knew
I
that
get what you're
this didn't go to
saying.
HDC.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I
We
see.
had a conversation with Alexa because they were all in disrepair and she had no stairs and everything, and it was kind of.
Oh, it looks,
We need
you
to
know,
fix it.
I mean, it looks dramatically improved, what you're doing. I mean, you know.
I'm
obviously-
trying.
Well, it's certainly safer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
those stairs
trying.
are, you know, a hazard to
Mhm.
your point, and, you know, this is definitely a step up.
Does anybody have any questions?
What color are you gonna paint it?
I don't know that I'm gonna paint it at all. That's kind of so I am a single homeowner and I'm 44 and have no husband and have no children. And I'm like, if I start painting it, that means I have to start painting it for the rest of my life. And I don't know that I have the energy
That's good.
or the interest to paint it for the rest of my life. So I was talking about possibly staining it. I was talking about just letting it kind of go through the year and see what it looks like at the end of the year and go from there. So I am not opposed to painting it if it needs to be painted. However, painting spindles does not sound like fun.
If you do end up deciding that you want it, once it's paint or stain, I highly recommend this is ex parte of the historic district. Staining, it comes in colors.
Yes.
I was kind of surprised when I found that out a few years
Yeah.
ago. And the nice thing about stain is you don't have to scrape it to reapply it.
Oh, that's
You have to scrape.
great
to
and sand
reapply,
and all that.
Scrape sand, get down to the
Right.
stain.
It just soaks right in, right? That's what I'm told. So, okay, yeah, I was informed.
Need my help then.
No, but thank you for the information, but I didn't know if it had to be.
Yeah.
I know someone down the street put that lovely front porch on that beautiful house last year or the year before. And they have it all painted, so it looks really nice, but I didn't know. In the long run, though, that siding is falling apart, so in the long run, it's gonna need to be redone in a while, so.
Two items. One, really not associated with the specific review we're doing here, but pressure treated lumber, although it will never rot, it is affected by the UV rays from the sun. It will check, it will crack,
Mm-hmm.
it will turn what some people would put as an ugly gray color. So you
Yeah.
really should seal it with something.
Something, okay.
But that's your choice.
No, good to know. Yeah, no, I'm going in it kind of blind and just going by recommendations. I just know that I don't know that I wanna scrape spindles every few years.
Now, just as a sidebar comment, I think if you had come to us before, I would be recommending something with a little more colonial look to it. Where I don't think as a committee or a commission, we're gonna propose that you do something different at this point.
Mhm.
but I think it would be more in line with the district, with the neighborhood. This is a very contemporary look. And
What would be more colonial
Oh,
for a
the-
front space?
the spindles would have
Yeah.
returned spindles.
I was just gonna say, like, I lived near this house growing up and it had an open porch.
You kind of.
You see like these
Oh.
pillars of stone, they
Go
were part of
through
the
that.
porch.
Yeah, go
And
through
then
that.
this is all
front room.
closed and
Right,
so it had a look of.
By looking.
Oh.
yeah, so if.
Oh, I got
if
you.
the
Yeah, yeah,
porch
yeah.
was still there, I would not be like recreating that, I would love if the front porch was still there, but they enclosed it before I purchased it. And so,
Is it part,
It was enclosed a very long time ago.
just as an aside, when they closed it, did they make it part of the rest of the house, or is it still you have a wall and then you step out into it, what would be an enclosed porch?
it's definitely part of the house, but it is like, there's a doorway with a closed door that you can partial off the area. So it's basically just a rectangular space that's carpeted.
Okay,
There is heat coming in,
so you have the front wall, the original front wall of the house,
still
and
there,
you have the enclosed.
but
then
they
you have-
paneled it, so it doesn't look like it's not like it's stone or something.
I know you're a single homeowner, but what that means is that if you did want to restore that as a porch. It's easier to restore it than if they had just knocked out the wall between the
The
house.
house and no, I don't believe they did. Again, I don't know, but it doesn't look like they did.
But what I was telling her is it used to look more cottage-like. My grandparents lived in the house like 2 houses south of there and it was very similar. And they had a porch with the stone pillars.
Well, I can imagine.
And my grandfather put aluminum siding.
Yeah, it probably
They closed
looks
it.
adorable.
They were really cute houses a long time ago. Nothing cute.
Someday maybe, I don't know, not right now.
Or do you have any comments?
Comments at all?
Um, So, it's been so long since I've done this,
Well-
I'll have to close the meeting.
We're in public hearing phase, Alexa.
Yeah, so you have to close.
So I move to make a motion to close the public hearing for HDC application HDC 2025-01.
You have a second?
So.
Who
I'm
is
sorry, too quick.
I'll second. Two.
Oh.
I'll third.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve application HDC 2025-01.
Second,
I'll second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye,
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
thank you.
I'm sure I will be seeing you all again soon.
Now, there you go, now that it's approved, and I'll speak because this has nothing to do with the Historic District Commission.
Sure.
I noticed, and you said the building inspector hasn't been out yet?
I don't know.
Okay,
that,
he
like,
may
in
have a
my-
concern about this.
Okay,
Not. I'm not familiar with the building inspector in town. The way your stairs are constructed, you have the flat boards going down. Acting kind of as your banister, your grab rail,
okay,
and. I know those don't meet code, that doesn't mean that. I'm not telling you to go out and buy them and have them installed, because the building inspector might look at that and say, I accept this. The reason I bring it up is in general, it's not accepted by code. And two, the problem with it not being there is when you go out your stairs, if you slip, whether on ice or not. It's harder to grab those flats,
okay,
flat 2x6s. They're the specs for a banister or a grab rail are typically round so that you can get your hand around them, whereas. The flat, you really can just kind of grab like that.
okay,
Just something to consider. Like I said, the building inspector may approve it as is. And so I'm preparing you. The building inspector might say it's fine as is, or he may say, no, you do need grab rails.
okay,
And two, even if he doesn't, you might want to consider that just as a safety for yourself.
okay,
In our lovely New England winters, when you go out there and it's slippery and or snowy or icy, it does give you something to hold on to as you go down the stairs.
Okay,
You know, another point too, because
Just
we used to have those kind out of afterward.
the flat.
And over time, you know, like how wood checks, we get splinters trying to grab
Mhm.
onto it.
Yeah.
So having like a cap, a curved is better.
Well, it just has something like your arm, the arms of your chairs has to be round. It's been so long since I did that, is the specific dimensions for the circumference of the grab rail.
okay.
And, but it just, like I say, if he doesn't say it, it might be something shouldn't add much to the cost.
Don't ask him about it.
Oh, no, don't ask.
But if he goes in that
Get
direction,
them
one
in
of
and
the
out
things
as
you
quick
could
as
do
possible, just.
relatively easily.
Do
you
they
could
let
add-
me know when they're stopping by?
I think they just stop by.
Do you think they just stop by? Okay, cause
Well,
I don't know if anyone stopped by, but I'm also
but they
working
may have
during the
worked with
day.
your contract.
So, they may have,
I only bring it up because, like I said, if they don't like it, they'll tell you to put it on. If they pass it, it'll pass, but that's something you still might wanna consider.
understandable, thank you.
And if that happens, you may be able to simply add a handrail without having to disassemble this.
Oh, yeah, it's really, no, it's very.
Well,
easy.
my the contractor also said, when you go to that meeting, if they tell you to fix anything, call me right away and I will fix it. So, and he knew I had to
Good for
come
him.
here. So, thank you.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you all fellow neighbors?
I wish I was.
You are
992.
992, so you're further.
I'm in the district, but on Sunset Lane.
Oh, okay.
She goes down Sunset
And
Lane,
Herb is on,
Oh.
just to my house.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that, okay.
Herb is on Hudson Street.
Oh, I love the houses on Hudson, they're so cute, the ones at the very top, I love them, like the brick one and the one on the corner of Hudson, that's all white and like wood. And it has the little fence around it, oh my god, they're so cute.
That's
If
our house.
Is that your house?
No.
No.
So there you go
He
anyway,
owns the one near the playground.
okay,
The
mhm,
white colonial.
okay, yeah,
That
no,
next door.
they're just very nice. I love the old colonials. I'm just one person though, and I don't need a big house like that. But thank you so much. It was nice meeting you all. Okay.
Oh, here, don't forget.
Yeah, of course.
Did we give her back like a set of pictures or?
Oh, no, I mean, if you need the whole thing for any reason,
I
or
can keep them in file, yeah.
I was gonna say, whatever you need, just, you could keep.
So you'll get, it's in the mail, right, a certificate of approval.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
or you can pick it up if you like.
Okay, and you can go down there, call me or
Go with those.
whatever, 'cause after June twelfth,
Oh,
I'll
the
be
application.
absent, so
Yeah.
I'll be home.
You're welcome to stay for, hear about other stuff.
Okay, I've never been, so why not?
Okay, next up, we have HDC 2025-02, request of Colleen Chandler to construct a second floor addition and interior renovations at 1224 Worthington Ridge. And it's, I
Her husband.
think we've met
We
you.
met before. You came to my house when I did the side coverage. Yep,
That turned out really nice.
thank you. So wait till you see the back of it. My neighbor came along because I share a driveway with him. He's the White House next door. So he just came to hear about it. He was like, I want to see what you're doing.
Oh,
So I'm a general contractor. I'm also the owner of 1224 Worthington Ridge. You all have a copy of my blueprint there. So, my house is basically a 1928 colonial with cedar clapboard and crown molding for trim. Everything on the blueprint is being kept the same. I just want to add, it's actually 2 floors on the back. So there is a picture of the back of the house, which is should be in your packet here. Basically, I'm gonna come out the back of the house, and if you look on your blueprint you guys all have there, I'm just expanding it. I'm keeping everything authentic. I did a side porch, which you came to see, and I kept it all matching, so I'm just trying to make it all look the same. I'm adding, the first floor is gonna make the kitchen and the living room bigger. The second floor is gonna be a master suite for me and my wife, because my daughter currently lives in a closet for a bedroom, so we're gonna give her a bigger bedroom and get some more space on there.
Wrong with the nice closet.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's great now because she's only 4 years old. When she's like 16, I'm not so sure that's gonna fly. So, yeah, we're just gonna come out the back. If the blueprint, I brought a big blueprint if anybody wants to see a large full scale blueprint of it. But pretty much that's all we're gonna do. I'm gonna keep all the cedar siding. When we did the windows for the addition, we used Harvey Majesties, which are aluminum clad exterior, wood interior, because I personally am trying to keep my house historical looking. So that's what we're gonna use on the rest of the addition for the new house. All the trims I custom made to make them look like old windowsills and wide trim. If you drive by the house, you guys can see it. So yeah, we're just coming off the back of the house. I'm gonna use the same asphalt roofing on it. Pretty much it's gonna look very similar. I may change the color this year because I've had a tan house for the 25 years I've lived in it, so.
We have no say about color.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm just
So
saying.
they want our
yeah,
advice.
I may-
we always say,
Yeah.
The house, the main house has some significant stop of overhangs. And
Yep.
the rake, and the rakes as well.
Yeah,
Higher.
Yeah, it's all gonna match. If you look at the
Oh,
blueprint,
fantastic.
yeah, my architect that drew the, was also an architect. I do I'm local. I'm a contractor right here in town. So, I do a lot of large additions and renovations, locally and throughout central Connecticut. But, the architect that drew it actually drew the side porch, which
Yeah.
I originally come for. So you can see it, like, when you drive by, it looks like part of the house. You would never know it's different. I did
Okay.
it 6/1.
Or were you the one that went with me, or was it Bill? Or was it Don? Somebody went with me.
It was the gentleman that lived in the ranch.
Oh.
I don't think he's no longer
moved.
here. He
He
moved,
moved,
but
okay.
he walked
It's
out.
Richard Bennett. I forgot about
And
that.
he lived in the ranch house.
So you guys haven't been there, but he enclosed an open porch into making it into an office. And you did a really good job with that.
Mhm.
But when I was there, like, I'm trying to picture, because I was driving by it and it's hard because you're up on the hill.
Mhm.
And I can't really like stop there to look and everything. But did you have like, was there some building over here?
Way in the back is my barn. There's a barn up here where if you're standing on the back side of my driveway,
Okay,
my barn is there. It's an original barn. It's been there since 1928 or whenever they built the building.
okay, I remember there was something back there.
Yep.
But I couldn't see how, I was trying to visualize how you would even see this addition.
So the
From the
only,
street.
I actually took a picture with my iPad tonight just to show you
It's a
the size.
sizable addition.
You're only gonna see, so basically, the
You can
only,
see it diagonally from the road.
the only section you're gonna see is when you come down the road. I'll show you the angle you're gonna see it from. If you look up the hill, that's the only angle you're gonna see it from, right there. Because my neighbor's house is literally shares the driveway with us, but you can't see it from the other side,
Are you north or south of him?
south.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, what's your name?
Neiman, Peter Neiman.
You.
Oh, wait, is that gonna hurt your hope? Because I gotta talk. Get out of here. So, too late. When you go south on the street, you'll see that side of it. But that's the only part you're gonna see. And like you were saying, I'm up the hill. Unless you slow down to 20 miles an hour, you're not gonna see it. You know what I mean?
So the front of the house isn't changing at all?
No, front of the house is staying exactly the same.
And was it talks about demolishing something? Was I just reading?
I'm ripping the deck up that's back here. That's been here for, I don't know how many years. This walkway and this deck's all coming out.
Oh,
Just because I'm coming back, I have
Yeah.
to take it all out, put
Okay.
condition in. But yeah, you'll
Yeah.
see, like I
Just
said,
as a sidebar, when I first read the
Mhm.
recommendation or the proposal, it says second floor addition, and I'm looking at the pictures.
oh yeah, you
Or Google Maps, and I'm thinking, second floor, so I'm thinking there's a first floor
Yeah.
bump out somewhere.
Uh-huh.
There's a little one on the back of the house, and I'm thinking, is that what he's doing?
No, no,
Because-
yeah.
But now I see with your explanation,
Yeah, if you look,
it's truly, you're constructing like a small house off the back of.
yeah, I'm adding a good portion to the house,
Yeah.
because the house is only 1,500 square feet. And to be honest with you, I bought the house 25 years ago, and I got this neighbor over here that I'm hoping you guys like, so I'm not going anywhere for a long time, so. And I'm a local guy to town, like I've been here, like I said, 25 years, so my wife and I decided that through COVID, we decided we weren't going anywhere, so I said, well, if I'm staying, I gotta add more square footage to it, so.
You are set back from,
What's that?
I was just thinking out loud, you are set back from the road.
Yeah, we're, all three of our houses are pretty far back, mine and then, the one next door, which is Eddie, which is way back, that one, that little gray one is way back, they're even farther than we are.
Oh, I know your neighbors across the street, so that's not good.
Which one? Gotta narrow that down.
Don't worry about it, I do know.
Knowing them, that's a pretty neutral statement, you know.
But yeah, you guys can see up by the blueprint, like I'm gonna keep it all with matching, and then if you wanna drive by the house, you can drive by and see everything that I did on the side porch edition. It looks exactly like it meant to be on there.
so these windows here, they're not gonna look like that, they're gonna be
No, that's actually just the window that was there. They're gonna stay. These are gonna have grills in them. This one is solid, window, just a solid. It's not gonna be like an opening window. This one, same thing. This is a casement. So this one's just a solid, those are gonna be casement windows. They're already there. They've been there since I bought the house. And then on the other side, you'll see we did where all the double hungs are. We did all the grills, which are 6/1, which is took care of, you know. So. I haven't, I'll be 100% honest with you, I may put grills in that just to make it look more like it's supposed to be. I'm a craftsman, I'm a carpenter, I'm not a contractor that like does paper contracts. I'm physically put hammer and nail every day. So like I'm kind of designing as I go, like even the interior trim. Although you guys have nothing to do with the interior trim because it's inside, it's all 3-piece mahogany trim. I'm doing it all 3-piece mahogany trim, so when you walk in the house, it doesn't look like it's an addition onto a beautiful, you know, interior of a
And you
house.
see that a lot where.
Yeah,
Very
people
obvious.
just- yeah, we-
Interior colors, they have.
I just had a conversation with my foreman in my company today, and he's like, "You're really gonna do 3-piece?" There's a guy in Hagen that custom makes trim for me on other projects I do, and he's literally gonna custom make all my trim to match the main part of the house. So, yeah. Well, I mean, you can't be a contractor and do it halfway, right? You gotta make it nice, right? So,
Especially if it's
Yeah,
for
no,
yourself, that's right.
yeah, it's my, hey, it might be my showpiece on my website at some point.
Anybody have questions?
I don't.
No, you explained it very well.
Or
No, great drawings. I wish everybody, you know, even had the.
sometimes we get like doodle things.
Yeah, you know, it's a little different for me. I'm in business every day. Architect draws 20-30 prints a year for me, so.
Yeah, fantastic.
So what's it bring the total square footage up to? You know?
I'm gonna be a little more than, just about 3,500 square feet all set.
Wow, what a change.
So, yeah, my tax bill is gonna show, reflect the change, trust me.
Can't escape that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and then the house will be just, if you look at like the blueprint, just that, this doesn't really affect the historical part, but if you look at the blueprint, like my living room will be a nice size. And then right now, my wife and I share a closet that's probably behind that door that way, and like, she's like getting a master closet, she's super excited, so like, it just be, you know, we're just making it more bigger, and then like, we're literally living in a bath and a half, a couple of young kids, it's nice that we're gonna have our own shower, bathroom area too, so kind of making a master suite out of it as well. So, but if you look off the back, I did a bump out off the back, and there's 2 doors on the back. One's gonna lead to a basement, because I'm losing my hatchway, which is on the back of the house now, so I'm gonna make a staircase, I'm trying to make it all look authentic to the era of the house. But I'm putting 2 doors with the window in the middle. One door is gonna go into the basement, you know, like a hatchway entrance, so to speak, and the other door is gonna be into a mud room, which will, you know, match the house and go into the house.
As your daughter gets older, you might want to consider upgrading the hot water supply too.
Oh, no, that's getting done with the project.
Okay.
The hot water tank went in 25 years ago when I bought the house. We're going on demand right now. I'm never waiting for that again. So, yeah, with that, actually, like I'm doing new furnace and everything, I have to, just I'm adding the square footage, so I gotta make, it's just the house is made for what it is now. I'm actually keeping the original radiators in the main part of the house, for the heating system on the 1st and 2nd floor. And then the additional help heating and cooling, because it's gonna have another furnace to help keep it going. But like, I'm keeping the radiator just because I love them, like, they're awesome to have, and just makes the house look cool and
You
stuff.
zone it separately?
Yeah, I'm zoning it all separate, yeah, so.
I did a renovation on an old house with radiators, and the areas that. Some areas had to have baseboard put in, there's
Mhm.
actually an addition. That had no source of heat, my father-in-law's house.
Yeah.
At one point, he used a wood stove, but in an old house like that, that's dangerous. So anyway, I took a shot. I actually, knowing that I would like to go single zone. There was no clean way to cut it. I actually split the radiators.
Hmm.
And from what I saw online, you got about a 50% chance.
Chance
of
that
getting
that's gonna
that.
work, yeah.
Did it on 2 radiators because I knew they would be so much more. The house got torn down for the studs, insulation and everything else. Those were from 1908. Would overheat the house. But so I ended up with baseboards and radiators on a single zone, and it worked. It works well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, back to business.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Information.
Any questions?
No, I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
You have a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Anybody else want to do the
I'll
honor?
make a motion to approve. Plans as submitted. And I'll second that.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for being so thorough and,
No problem.
Good luck.
you know,
You guys are an easy historical district. Try going to Weathersfield and negotiating.
tell people, yeah.
We
Make it less easy.
No, you go for whatever you want. I'm thorough. I don't worry about it. Hey, you guys have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good luck.
Come on, Pete, let's go before they say something bad about you. He's gonna talk like.
I'm gonna say, someone who's been in the district for 40 years, I went through 4 additions on my house. This is a breeze.
Oh, yeah.
People are a breeze,
Yeah.
but I had to go through before.
I know you had the barn you put up.
Yep.
That was before I was on the commission.
Yep.
And then I think you did your deck.
I did an addition,
I was,
I did a deck, I did the barn, I did another deck. And every time I got hassled for something.
And they did good.
Yeah, and it was.
Try to work with people, if people
Well,
are
we're sorry.
reasonable and come with the right
You did that.
information.
I understand it, and I mean, I was a contractor also back then, and I was trying to explain to them that there are other people on the ridge that have the same thing, and they didn't care. They said, well, you know, and this guy's on too, somebody said to me, that's not what we like. I said, show me in your charter where it
Yeah.
says, you
Yeah,
can't, I can't do this because you don't like it. And they said, well, we don't like that. So
well,
you guys you're wonderful. If I ever do anything, I'd be more than happy to come back to you.
Hey, you
Well,
got a contractor for a neighbor, don't let him get you.
Yeah.
don't go crazy.
Oh, no, I know. No, listen, we can shovel this walkway.
Thank you.
My kids are gone, we don't need to add any more.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a great day. Have a good night.
We have more we discussed, but you're welcome to go.
I'll definitely discuss it. I'll be back, I'm sure.
Okay. Thank you.
I think we skipped approving the minutes. Yeah.
Approval of minutes.
Okay, so last meeting was me, Herb, Don, and John that were here, so. Bill has no say.
There was just a mistake. Andra pointed out that I had her listed as an,
Alternate.
yeah, or which way did I do it backwards?
She,
She's an alternate. I had
yeah,
her.
she's
Yeah.
Andrew,
She's an
as
alternate.
alternate, yeah.
Mhm. And I put her as a member by accident.
Is that the only thing you caught? I didn't see anything else.
That's the only thing that was pointed out to me.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the March 3rd, 2025 meeting. With the
With that
change
correction.
of Andrew Lou Millard as an alternate member.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the 4 of us, could we approve? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's over. Okay, so I wanted to just update you on a couple of things, like the Worthington Meeting House last meeting. I think I mentioned, it's in the minutes that the town owns the building, so the town, technically, if we apply for any grants, it has to be applied for by the town, and the town council has to give permission and everything to apply for a grant. So I contacted the state over their historic restoration grant. And the way they do it now is you have to do a pre-application. It's a whole line process. And so I did that in January, I think it was. And then in May, they tell you if you've been invited to send a formal application. And then it takes the whole year to get approval. Well, I hadn't heard anything, so I followed up with them. And she said, unfortunately, we were not chosen because they had limited funds. They had a total of 5 million in funds requested from something like 30 different projects. And they only were allotted 1 million something, and this money comes from the federal government. Which, what's happening, like with everything getting cut. So. She said we can apply again next year, but in the meantime. What happened with the town council or the the finance department? Well, actually Doug Solik, who's building. Facilities manager. Was very supportive about meeting house and everything. Had pushed in his budget to have it in to get the building painted. And he applied for 200,000, because that was the estimate. I only got one estimate.
An
from
estimate,
somebody.
you did have an estimate?
Yeah.
Well, there was no formal application process. We had
No,
some
I
idea.
just asked, I contacted restoration painter, person who was recommended, and he spent a lot of time looking at it. There's a lot of damage to the wood, which should repair. And a lot of moldings need to be replaced and things like that. Plus, over time, the windows have to be all replaced again, even though there's plexiglass on them. So it's not an easy thing. And to do a building that big and prime it properly, which I don't think it was primed at all the first time. And painted with the appropriate paints.
Is there plexiglass over the original?
windows.
Is that what that is?
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
It's supposedly to protect them, but still you get UV light in there and things, and the heat
Right.
deteriorates it. So
You may be blocking out the UV, but you're creating a hot.
Yeah, is that,
Between.
is that what we want in the end, plexiglass?
No.
We don't.
no, that's not permanent.
Well,
That was
it's been
just-
there, how long?
Oh, God.
It's
Semi-permanent.
working on permanent. I mean, shouldn't they be stored?
2005,
Shouldn't they
Oh my
be
God.
and they replace them periodically,
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can't tell from the road, but, close.
Yeah,
road,
you can.
yes. You can't, I mean, maybe, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
so-
Well, you can't tell it's plexiglass, but you know there's.
So something's on top of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, he had applied for it and then it got cut. But when we're applying for this grant, they said, well, we need to, the town has to spend the money up front, and then you get reimbursed if they approve of what you did, 50% of that. So I don't know what they're gonna do, because you can't keep letting ordinance go on things like that. So,
What's the likelihood of the town just paying for it?
well, and
200,000 is a lot.
anyhow, what Doug had told me was, because I said, well, where's the match gonna come from, or like, how are we gonna do this? And he said, they'll find the money. So, I don't
That's
know what's
promising.
gonna happen,
So
so
it's not gonna be this.
anyhow, the mayor wants to talk to me about it, so see what he has in
Well,
mind.
that's what I'm wondering, if there's some hopes, because it is,
Cause
I
I've
would
seen
hope that
this
we-
this is what happened with. The more work has been expended on this building than they ever put into Kensington Grammar School. I don't know if you remember that, but it was the classic,
yeah.
1907. A brick school building across from St. Paul's, it's now a park. But after that closed, it became a town rec center sort of, but they never did maintenance on it, and the roof leaked catastrophically. And they just sort of abandoned it. But I always said, if you put a roof on, at least like you're saving the interior, you can't ignore this kind of stuff.
So has this other example been torn down or raised at this point? Or is it just?
It's a grammar school,
That's long
Yeah.
gone.
Oh, yeah.
it came down years ago,
Oh, okay,
Like-
because of the issues you're referring to.
yeah.
Yeah, it
And
became, it came to the point that it wasn't even safe to carry.
The town's put in more money into that by multiple, I mean, so
To
your
the
point
meeting
is,
house.
yeah, into the grammar school.
They didn't
Oh,
put
they
any
put it-
money.
I see what you're saying, I thought you said
No.
they put in tons of money into it.
Into the meeting house, you have to stabilize the building and.
Oh, yeah,
They have
yeah,
to
yeah.
expend, they've got money. In there, so it doesn't make sense to let it go.
I
now.
got you,
But
why
the-
stop now, yeah, we should stop now.
The Kensington Grammar School, their idea was to keep trying to sell it to people. And work, and then you went through getting developers that could never get the financing, and it lingered on and on and on. And then they would sell it and then make a profit.
Well,
I mean,
what
it
happened
went on
is
and on.
it sold, the town sold it almost like a fire sale to the developer.
Yeah, that's
It's a very low price.
mistake.
And I would say 2 to 5 years later, he sold it to
Mhm.
another developer at a huge profit.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Not really sure what
People
happened
put
there
property-
because,
and then,
because there was nothing really there to
Right.
justify the cost, and then that developer didn't do anything with it.
and then the church wound up paying $1 million to have it taken down
Yeah.
to build a parking lot. And what a sad story.
Yeah, at that point, we couldn't, you couldn't even go in it. I know that.
It was mold
Well, they
and,
weren't allowed to go in it to look if there, what is there that is salvageable, because they had some of the really old water fountains and things. And it wasn't safe,
but we did
not-
salvage the
Oh.
mosaic tile
but it
fountains.
wasn't safe
Mm.
for anyone to go in, not just because of mold, but they didn't want anyone falling through the floor or having parts of ceiling fall on them.
Yeah.
It was that bad. It would have been financially difficult to justify the expenditure of money to say that if someone had come along with a very deep pockets and really had the money and wanted to do it and had no intention of ever seeing that money returned, they
it's
could
like
have
that, you know.
It's sad though, because I go to other towns that have schools of that era and they're
because they did
like
something.
senior apartments.
Yeah,
There's,
East Hartford
there's-
saved their an old Catholic school and converted it to, the first floor is basically meeting spaces and,
Mhm.
and public and town offices. And the second floor is like an artist's colony, if you will.
but these are the buildings that give the town character,
Yes.
you know?
And I know a lot of people, well, not a lot, some people kind of like didn't, held it against the church for what they were doing, and the church was like, listen, it's gonna be just, there's nothing to do with it.
Hmm.
And the alternative was, there was a developer wanted to come in, and also raise it to the ground. And then
Hmm.
basically put in,
They were gonna put in a bunch of condos.
it was a housing project.
But is there any risk that,
I'm a lot familiar with what they were building, and they were building up the project is.
Well, to your point, I center school in Newington, where I went to my 5th and 6th grade as a kid. It was converted to apartments and it's still,
Yeah.
the outside of the building looks as good as it did.
There's
I
a
was
lot
going
of,
to school there.
yeah, there's St. Mary's in East Hartford, north end of Main Street, is again elderly housing.
Hmm.
And the exterior was saved, it looks wonderful, the inside was a little, I don't know, industrial or institutional, but still, it's working, it's a elderly, privately run elderly.
Better than having it simply sit and deteriorate.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think the bottom line is the town of Berlin is pretty lousy at taking care of the buildings.
You know, it's like Band-Aids.
You know,
And they wait so long to do things, it becomes more and more expensive, so,
so with the meeting house, is there any indication it's like structurally unsound?
no,
So it's not gonna collapse?
No.
It just needs outside work to,
that, and the interior has to be made into something.
A usable space of some.
Where the plan has been for years and years, and I don't wanna go back to any other plan, because we put our heart and soul into this. And to make it a museum and community cultural center and event space and meeting room space. The Historical Society bought the house behind
Right.
it specifically to add to the potential of the whole property. You know, lots been emotionally invested in this, and people love that building. This event we were supposed to have had that got rained out, that we'll have in October. I was getting kind of nervous because there were hundreds and hundreds of people wanting to come to this.
wow.
And they were really disappointed. That's one reason we waited so late, because people kept saying, oh, there'll be a window, you can have it. But we were trying to tie it into, the church was celebrating 250, and they started in the meeting house. So tying that all together on the same day made sense, but now our group is so busy with all kinds of things, people who were gonna perform there are busy. And then we're getting into Berlin Fair season, so we will have this event, it'll probably be even better in October, because we can build in a rain date then. But I just wanted to update you on the funding and all that, so we'll see what happens. I also wanted to just mention about Berlin Free Library. Don and I actually went to one of their board meetings. I've felt attached to this building a lot because it was my childhood library, so I've helped them out a lot over the years. With things, grants and donations and whatnot, but they're contacted me because they felt they're kind of in dire straits. The building needs a lot of work. Their treasurer just died. And most of the people on the board are elderly, like my age or older. But they, unfortunately, what happened with that, the library that preceded that was actually between the two houses, the yellow house that's across from Hudson and the one just north of it, both owned by Eric Stevens. But you see there's like a empty lot there that belongs to those houses, but there was this beautiful Victorian quaint little cottage style library there in the 1800s that operated until about 1950. And then the Brandy family, who owned the old Academy building, donated that to the Berlin Free Library Association to move there. And what happens with the old building, it gets torn down.
No.
And I see pictures of it and I think, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Why did they do that? You know, it makes no sense. But anyhow, in the course of their whole history, the Library Association was operating off a bequest from the Warren family, who used to live in the Yellow House like years ago. And I don't know the exact amount of money that was left, but they were allowed to draw off the earnings or interest. I don't even know how it's invested all these years. And they've gotten minimal money from the town, like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 a year. But it's not enough to pay their insurance and everything they have to pay. So they're looking like how to raise money. They're looking into, oh, you're in the law. Do you know anything about probate court?
Yes.
That is probably the wrong answer.
No. You just been volunteer.
Because they were looking for some help in examining this trust document.
Sure.
It's like over 100 years old.
I would like to look at it actually, just for that purpose.
Would you?
Yeah.
Because I know Dennis Karn in town, like I mentioned it to him and he said he'd be willing to look it over, but no, he said he'd do it for free.
Yeah, I know.
Just because who they are, but he's not a litigator anymore. He doesn't do courtroom stuff, so he couldn't help them there. But there are some younger people on the board and they were trying to approach people through the probate court that maybe somebody would do a pro bono just to look at it. No, but it doesn't seem fair that you can have this trust for like from the 1800s dictating how you do things now, even like how you invest the money. But I think the trustee is, what's that?
Webster Bank.
No, it's not Webster.
Yeah, that's one.
I thought they said it was that bank right across from Webster. Is that? Bank
No,
of
they
America?
said Webster.
They say Webster?
Yeah, and evidently, just to add, Lorraine, they are charging very high fees and their rate of return historically on this trust, the principal of the trust has been 4% over a year. And they're struggling, God, saying, and there's fees on top of that.
That's
You know,
horrible.
They're thinking that, there was some belief that the trust may actually specify Webster Bank or some other
No,
bank.
Webster did
probably
So,
just
or
specify
it existed at the
whoever
time and
yeah,
it was
whoever
amended.
saying.
To Lorraine's point, it's messy and they really need someone to just grab a
Yeah.
hold of
But
it and
it's like
straighten
a
it out.
Well, library and they have this terrific.
Very popular too. I mean, I'm not, I can't go through the whole process, but I can just give you I can give you an idea of what my thoughts are on.
Okay, I'll mention that to them.
And,
as
and,
an
and the
option.
libraries is so very popular. I don't know how many days a week I go by and.
They have kid.
I want to
programs.
complain about the parking, because no, but there's people parked up and down the road, and it's wonderful to see that it's that.
They have a
busy.
kid program that is so cool, like I sat in on it once,
Yeah.
just to see what it was all about. This is so creative and everybody was
Yeah,
having a great
I volunteered
time.
there briefly, for a while when she was in high school, and
So that's going on, but they also asked me, because they're trying to cut their budget. So one thing is they had a PO box, which costs money, but they're looking to save every penny, so they were gonna change to have it delivered to the building, which means they need a mailbox, and she asked me, do I need approval from you to have a mailbox? I didn't think so. I mean, she described to me what they were gonna put up, but they needed to lock, 'cause they're not there all the time. But I think we're okay with that. I mean, they have a big Dropbox for the books right in
Yeah,
front there.
they may, if they got something that was similar to that, so long as the mailman doesn't put it in the wrong box.
Well, she was thinking about something mounted on the door, it was just a black box.
Yeah.
Lock. And we didn't wanna drag them in here if we didn't need it.
Oh,
So I just wanted to tell you that's the one.
1%? That's horrible.
yeah, they said it works out to about $5,000 a quarter to get it checking. The
Just
principal,
think of all those
the
years,
principal is
and
locked
it could
up.
have been invested
Yeah.
in something.
Right.
But anything else?
I just wanted to bring up briefly, we talked about Bill 5290 quite a bit last
Yeah.
time, which was the,
Solar.
proposed legislation to, remove certain authority from historic district commissions throughout the state, dealing with solar panels, and it didn't get out of committee. It was on the planning and zoning committee of the legislature. I was checking about once every few weeks, and went nowhere. I mean, they just don't have time to spend on that kind of thing, so.
Yeah.
And
They have limited jurisdiction
know,
as it is.
And, they're gonna, go through committee and then, have extensive debate. And, the legislature with all the things going on up there right now, this is the last thing they care about, so I think we're safe for at least this year and probably for the foreseeable future.
For what it's worth, I never did get a call back.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
With any updates, she indicated that she had a number of emails, expected a number of emails. She would forward those to me, but I never got it yet.
Yeah, I just.
I should probably follow up.
The present push to take zoning away from the local municipalities.
It's aggressive, I know.
Is aggressive, and that would, of course, I would think, gut your historic district as well.
Yeah, this was a bill specifically to amend the,
Yeah.
part of the Municipal Powers Act dealing with, historic district commissions. Cause there's specifically a statute dealing with our authority regarding solar panels.
Yes, and we've.
And they were on to come up,
We've dealt with that in the past.
and this wasn't the first time that the legislature tried to take a whack at us. One thing I was saying was, I don't know whether or not this was just somebody in some town who got the ear of their legislator, said, hey, just put this proposal, this concept bill in.
Yeah.
And it just sits there, nothing more.
It had to do with, you know how we don't regulate things that can't be seen from the street.
Right,
Yeah.
So I guess in some town, maybe
It
Weathersfield,
was
Weathersfield, yeah.
yeah, that's.
that when you have museum buildings, like technically the way the law is written, like, because if you put a solar panel on the back of it, but some people were feeling like that's really, because people go to these places and they wander around the whole yard and it affects their view of the building. So there was some proposal for a bill to allow
Yeah.
people to do that.
I think they required us to approve.
Yeah.
It was just like, you have no choice.
Yeah,
Right.
because the way it stands now, you have to really bend over backwards to prove like how it's detrimental to the district.
Right.
Even if it can be seen.
So that's good.
That's a pretty subjective thing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
whether it's detrimental.
Well, and that's why
to
they're
the
taking away that
district.
authority.
Well, I think what we decided was if you can see it, it's detrimental. If you can
Yeah.
see it in the public way,
Right,
it's detrimental.
So Range Point, there are.
On antique homes, I know we did others where it was not really a vintage home. And we said, well,
well, there was a new home,
yeah, new
Yeah,
home,
there
that's
was
right, a
that
new
one
home.
that didn't really belong in the.
and the first one we
anyhow.
did
Yeah.
was. Almost.
Yeah,
And-
I made sure I stayed away from that one. I'm friends
But-
with that man.
Lorraine's point was there are a number of old homes that are museums now in the old Weathersfield district.
Yeah,
And that you're free to walk around, there are gardens and
Yeah.
that type of thing, and from that point of view, you can see the back of many of the houses, and I guess that was part of the Roman contention.
Yeah.
But it really is, we have to approve, right now, we have to approve it unless. We believe that it would be detrimental to the historic, like, to your point, that's very subjective. And that-
Yeah.
They'd always, they'll always find a reason to deny an application.
No, and I think.
And we're generally pretty easy, as they said, you know, we're easygoing, we're not overly obsessive about things,
Right.
but. You know. Like I said,
And it's gonna be at the roof too, it's not just gonna be in the yard.
yeah, well, they're not allowed in the yard.
Right, right.
Yeah, I think the town, doesn't the town actually have a moratorium on any?
Yeah.
And so.
Well, not for residential.
Yeah, no ground mount for residents.
Yeah, no ground mount.
No ground mounts.
Which,
Yeah, but what about, yeah, but the residential, what about on Deming Road? They got
It was before that.
that was, oh, that was
They
like.
put in one on Chamberlain Highway, but is that
Resi-
Meriden?
Residential?
No, it's not
There's a whole solar field now
commercial.
beyond me.
Oh, yeah, that's a commercial.
cause they even have freestanding solar panels.
Again,
that,
someone couldn't put it in their backyard.
Large flower.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
and
sun, I'm like, geez, and you can take it with you when you move, apparently.
Oh.
But I thought that, geez, that looked pretty interesting, cause I have a couple acres behind my house that you don't even see it.
But that
so.
one on Chamberlain Highway, in a way, we didn't really have a say in because it goes through.
Siting council?
Mhm. Yeah, so the only
What are they
way,
even using that for?
I'm not sure, but
Like, what does it connect into?
yeah, no, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I mean, we wouldn't be able to say no just because we don't like it.
Don't they sell that power to the grid or something?
Maybe that's. what
There's
it
something
was.
going
I
on, but
know-
they actually sell the power.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure
yeah.
what that one was.
Was it
specifically.
the-
If it's residential,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it's subsidized, it goes. It feeds into the grid. And whatever feeds into the grid is deducted from.
This wasn't residential.
Yeah, this is but she's talking about commercial,
Like
no, I
a,
get what you're saying.
oh, an array, a commercial array is what's on the Chamberlain Highway, yeah. It is on the line with Meriden, but it's ours,
I have a
I think
good friend
it's
that's an
Berlin, but
engineer.
it's close to the line.
yeah.
With Eversource,
Mhm.
and his perspective is that just what you're talking about, selling it back to the grid, makes sense on a small scale. But if it were to ever really take hold and become a common way of doing it, the infrastructure just can't support it. The cables in some of the side streets, for example,
Right,
don't have the billable capability.
that you can take them
To-
into the
to
extra
take them.
power.
Well,
So
that's-
sure, the main
you-
trunks can handle it, but we're not talking
Well, in
about.
Connecticut, the only restriction on that is if you get subsidized system. This is a handoff to the electric companies. If you get, if you wanna have it subsidized by the state. It has to be fed back into, so the Tesla roof or the Tesla wall, where you have a bank of batteries in your garage. And you getting your energy off the roof and storing it in your home. You could do that in the state of Connecticut, but you can't get any subsidies for it. Which makes it, of course, very expensive. The whole reason why people can afford solar systems on their homes. Is because they're usually subsidized, otherwise most people wouldn't do it because it's. Extremely expensive. So that was the workaround if if the state subsidizes it. You can only have it feed the grid, so. When the grid goes down because it's a hurricane, you're kind of out of luck, you can't
Right.
really. There's no switch mechanism to switch off from the grid. And just power your house.
So all that's happening is you just are reducing your electric bill because you're supplying the grid.
Yeah.
You are, this is
and
not a
most
backup, you're not having independent power from the grid.
In most homes, with subsidies, it's a good idea because you. Essentially turn your electric bill into zero or minimal amounts, and of course you don't have a huge financial outlay because it's subsidized. The other systems where they have the battery banks typically in your garage or somewhere. Those will. Feed your home. In fact, it's a. If you're going off grid, if you're building somewhere that doesn't have an electric infrastructure, you can do that. And power your home for several days of sunless days by doing that, but that's also not subsidized. So-
Guys, should
Yeah,
we
that's
close
also-
the
Yeah, we're
meeting?
far afield here.
We're keeping it like.
We're off the.
Oh, do you
One more brief thing. Last time we talked about the old town hall. And,
Oh, yes.
and I mentioned that it would be nice to know what the town manager's plan is. It's supposed to be a plan
Okay,
of what's going on with the town hall. The town manager is supposed to come to an agreement
okay,
with the homeowner and make a plan and you have to follow it, if you don't, you get penalized. And you send us an email and it's pretty much just the ordinance. We had the ordinance before. There wasn't anything in your email about the specifics of what's going on with the old town hall. What are you asking them to do? What issues do you see there is with the town hall? Because we see the town hall continue to fall apart and deteriorate and doesn't look like anything is being accomplished except the parking lot is cleaned up.
Okay, I'll talk to him.
Much like Kensington Grammar School, right?
Yeah, same thing.
It's going to deteriorate to the point where it's not viable to save it.
It has to be made weatherproof.
Town hall, but Kensington, what was the school we were talking about?
Well, that already.
I know what I'm saying, it would be the same thing, it would deteriorate to the point where
Going
it's
down the
not
same road.
viable to save.
No, we wanna see the building preserved. And, you know, it means the roof has to be in good shape. And the windows have to be sealed, it has to be weather tight. And we don't really see a lot being done in that regard.
Okay,
And if penalties can be issued, if that doesn't happen, and penalties can be issued to the owners and force them to sell it to somebody that will do something with it,
Mhm.
then that would be the best plan.
okay.
I don't wanna violate confidence here, but I do have an acquaintance, a neighbor that evidently has the humans and he has a vision. He was talking to me a couple of weeks ago. High level, 10,000 foot level. Completely renovate the building into a multi-family home, whether it be condos or apartments. And go the route, knowing that he'd have to get his, he'd have to go to the zoning board of appeals. Well,
Oh, you can apply.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
but,
apply,
but the minute it becomes apparent that it's spot zoning, all kinds of hammers come down. Because,
well,
and and also from the town's perspective, if you start doing spot zoning. Everyone wants spot zoning. Yeah,
What zone is it
In a
in?
historic district, when you have a building like that, what are you gonna do with it? It's
That-
too big for.
I've made this argument before, and that was one of the problems when the historic district was, so it was determined way long before I came along that it would just be zoned single family. I understand, I've been in a lot of beautiful old mansions that have been broken up into multifamilies, and they're generally done absolutely horribly.
Mhm.
The buildings they're horrible inside and out, but what we did was we stopped, say, an attorney with an attorney with an idea of like, listen, I'd love to have offices and it's one of the beautiful old mansions. And they're stopped from doing that. And
have you
so,
ever seen the Harkness Mansion in Middletown?
not familiar.
It's from the Harkness family gave it to the state of Connecticut. They did a complete renovation. The upstairs is offices, private offices. The downstairs is a walk-through museum, and it's a quasi public private
And
type of management of the facility. My wife and I took the tour, and it's they did a
the
great
problem
job.
is that the town of Berlin zoned the historic district as single family home.
Yeah.
And as I've always said, you know, if there's people with, people with,
it gonna be?
well, people with the wherewithal to live in a mansion. I worry,
They're gonna build
frequently-
something up on a hill where they.
Yeah, well-
It's a prep.
well, I
Count the number of houses that have multiple either electric meters or gas
I know.
meters or both.
yes, but
There's a lot of grandfathers.
Because they're
And
grandfathered.
Those are all
nobody is
grandfathered.
charged. We have
Yeah.
two apartments,
But like, look at
one
those.
on our
places.
third floor and one
You
over
know,
the garage.
It, who's gonna buy an 8,000 square foot mansion? If people who wanna buy an 8,000 square foot mansion wanna live in West Hartford, and I hate to say that, they wanna live in fancier Clinton than Berlin, it's just a matter of fact, you know, you know,
The price is right.
but if the price is right, then very often you get people who can afford it but can't afford to fix it. And,
I think I personally think if it was done right.
Yeah.
The town demanded architectural plan and was, consistent and truly improvement to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It
That's
it
such
would
a
be a
key
plus.
building. for,
Anyway,
like
this
architecture.
individual was willing to start that process, invest some money into seeing if you can get.
I
Zoning
understand the
board of
argument
appeals.
for maintaining it as single family because, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily want to live in a single family home right next to a business of some sort.
Well, go to Norton Road, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, unbelievable, you know, where
Yeah.
you might, you know.
Well, I came here from Southington where the zoning was like, do you ever have zoning? Because you have light industry right next to
Well,
residential.
that's what
And
I'm
you-
saying.
And you're kind of like, well, what the heck happened here? Must have been before the town had zoning rules.
No, I think that was on purpose in some ways. I mean, you see like where I'm talking
Yeah.
about, you will literally have industrial going through single family and they wanna do more. They wanna put in more, you know, commercial and industrial.
So the problem then becomes back to historic district, if it's single family only, it does limit you into who is interested in acquiring and maintaining properties. And I don't know what the solution is, but years ago, I pointed out to this committee that. By doing so, and we don't have any say in the matter, but by doing so, you prevent someone from coming in and deciding that I want, you know, this would make a great mansion for me to have my offices out of. The house that's almost on the corner of Hudson and Worthington Ridge, it looks like at some point it was a storefront.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Yeah, I looked at that and I said, you know, that would be a great place for a small antique shop
I
in a
know.
historic district where people love the
See,
historic buildings.
Litchfield
And
does
wouldn't it be
that.
great for, cause I even looked at that and I said, cause you know, my father was still alive at the time and he did museum quality antique restorations. I, this would be a perfect shop for you, Pop, but it's not allowed.
Mm.
And I understand single family because as I said, I've seen numerous places like these big old buildings converted to apartments and it's almost never done well.
But sometimes it is done well.
Yes,
I,
but the temptation for the property owner is, I wanna stick as many profit-making apartments into this building. And that does not mean I'm going to build luxury apartments, I'm going to
No.
build,
Well, that's true.
and then, of course.
Providence,
you-
Rhode Island, in the Brown University area, there
This is
are
not- this-
lots of 250-year-old homes.
Yes.
Most of them are multifamily.
But this is
a
out Brown.
Gorgeous district.
Yes, but this is not the Brown University.
That's right, we don't have a Brown
And
University on the top.
then, of course, you end up having to tack, as we have on a couple places in our district, you have to tack external stairways on the equivalent of a second, fire escape to get to the second floor because you're not allowed single exits. And these buildings are very difficult to meet the single exit exemption, but they're working on that one. And God forbid they ever get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, should we
So
close?
the,
Yeah.
the
let's close.
multifamily homes on Worthington Ridge, that is not,
Bring it up.
yeah, it's not a surprise, it's not being done under the table. I've had many conversations with the town with
Yeah.
respect to assessment of properties and with respect to zoning, and they're completely aware of it. It's just, it's not even an official term, but they're grandfathered in because they predate the zoning.
Yes.
There's a history that they were used as multifamily
And
residents.
so it's considered existing non-compliant.
Yes,
And
that's
there's
the term
nothing
that
you
was
can
used.
really do.
Not non-conforming or
Not
Not-
conforming, so you can't really do anything about existing non-conforming and
But
will
we
they
need
do something to it?
I remember, you know, the house next to the Old Town Hall, the blue house. Is it cited blue?
The gray.
Gray, is it gray?
Yeah,
No, not the,
the people that own the old town.
no, that
No.
one on the other side, it's a multifamily.
Yeah, that's one of those, but
Yeah, the previous
stairway.
owners had too many apartments in it and the town made them eliminate an apartment.
Well, okay,
Yeah, that's one of the ones with the external stairway, we should just drive by and go, oh, I know I'd say, but somebody.
Oh, the Pruzanowski one?
The one to the left of the town hall, or maybe on the next one.
Yeah, Pruzanowski.
Big external stairway.
Yeah, cause they came to us to redo that, but then they never did it,
Yeah.
because it's all when. They're related families, so the upstairs family uses the downstairs exit. They kind of commingle and they move out
Yeah.
that door, so they never got around to replacing the staircase. Anyhow, do I have a motion
Motion
to? close the
Motion to adjourn.
adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I-
I-
Shall we vote? Are you contributing?